right.
but I haven't had the Chris file.
Well, there's a new Ipcress file, and so you are on brand. And anyway, we're talking about Black Bottle in all its many iterations today. So, Brendan, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about Black Bottle. So, should we just dive in?
Dive in, absolutely.
What is Black Bottle? What is the story?
So I'd say absolutely dive in, and thanks for having me, Henry. And I would strongly recommend. I mean, I've got it here, right now. I would pour yourself a glass of our flagship Black Bottle, and get a glass of that and get your nose into it, and you'll work out what it is. And yeah, Black Bottle is one of the big reasons that I took this job at Distill, frankly. So I've worked in the whiskey industry for quite a long time, and for a while there I was making only single malts, which, don't get me wrong, is an amazing old gig to have, but I did miss a bit of the kind of mystique and artistry and skill that comes into blending. And in particular, I've always had a thing for Black Bottle because it's a classic Scottish blend. It's steeped in history, as many of the blends are, because they are probably the longest serving servants. Can you say serving servants? Let's go with it. No one will notice. We'll edit that out. We'll wait for live. But it's one of the longest serving servants of the Scotch whisky industry. But the big thing about Black Bottle, and something that anyone who's ever heard me speak about whiskey, I'm like a broken record. I lived on Islay for 3 years. I love all things Islay. I have an obsession with Islay in particular. And Black Bottle, you can't make it without Islay. It has, I'm not saying it's a smoke bomb, but it always has this wonderful storyline of smoke running through every single bottle that we make.
And you mentioned taking this job because of Black Bottle, and you've been there for is it a year now? 365 days?
Yeah, it's 363 days. So
right.
I started on the 7th of April last year. And it was you that got wind, because you and I have been friends for a little while now, after a couple of jaunts around the Scottish countryside. And I put it on my Instagram, and I was like, a little bit of news, I'm going to move. And you gave me a call, and you went, hey, can you talk about this? Is this a joke? Is it, it was close to April Fool's Day. And I was like, yeah, sure, I think it's okay. And I've got to say, I have a big head. Physically, I mean, not an ego, but I physically have a big head. But I did have a bit of a big head after that, because I kind of went whiskey viral for a couple of days, which was really cool. It was
the second most read thing on the Master Malt blog last year. So
seriously?
after the Japanese whiskey regulations, Nika, it's not that Japanese, revelations, it was you. So whiskey fans,
seriously.
Yeah, they care about your movements. Your job, not your. You know what I'm trying to say.
The doctor does as well. More and more the older I get. That's very cool. There's a stat. I almost want to hang up the phone and go and bore my wife with that, but she doesn't care.
I can even send you the Google Analytics. I'll do that tomorrow.
That is
print a graph off, send it over.
That is going straight on my Instagram the second that I see that. Self-publicity, no such thing as bad publicity. There's an awful lot of self-publicity.
In the industry these days, you've got to do it. If you're not blowing your own trumpet, then
yeah,
who else is going to do it? Yeah. So Black Bottle, this is lovely. It's got a real smokiness to it, a real sort of oiliness.
Yeah. So as with all blends, you go through evolutions, and you go through. We adhere to our classic recipe. It's some tea blenders from Aberdeen who founded our brand, and it has that kind of classic sort of 60-40, 70-30 grain to malt split. But the kind of key thing is, so a lot of our grain is in virgin oak, first of all. So that's quite unusual. So you're using the strongest, the most impactful, the most ready to give up flavour casks that come out of America. We've just skipped the bourbon industry altogether and brought them to Scotland, and we put our grain whiskey in there. So that gives it a big, a big impact to that kind of lovely oaky goodness. You're going to get lots of caramel, lots of honey. You're going to get that nice clove spice. But really, to me, the thing that plays the... Oops, something's beeping in here. I really don't know what's beeping. Give me 1 second.
It's Heineken HQ.
Yeah, I was like, what on earth is that?
Something
Just
gone
somehow
wrong.
stopped. I don't know what the hell's been there, but essentially at its heart, what we've got this crazy spiciness coming off the American oak, but then inside it as well, we've got the malt that makes up the whiskey. It's got loads of Islay in it. So I don't talk about distilleries because it's their distilleries. I'm not going to cash in on their brands, if you like, but if you think on the south of the island and the big smoky whiskies that you can think of, those are the kind of things that you find in this whiskey. That's why you get that lovely, salty, maritime, earthy as well, actually, because smoke isn't just fire. Smoke can be that kind of saline, it can be that barbecued meats. All of those flavours are in there. I can talk a lot about Bunnahabhain because Bunnahabhain is one of our distilleries, and it has a lot of Bunnahabhain, which we call Moynia, when we make it really smoky, and it also has a little bit of Bunnahabhain unpeated, our most classic whiskey, or unpeated Islay single malt as well.
I should say that if people are tasting along, if you put your comments underneath on Facebook or YouTube, Twitter, then they will get back to me as long as they're not indecent, and then I will put them to Brendan. There's a lot of sweetness there as well, isn't there? You get a lot of that kind of grain.
Yes, there is. So we use a lot of big casks in this whiskey. We use a huge amount of big casks in this whiskey, and in truth, if you're a whiskey maker, you're always trying to, tinker and play, and also sometimes you're just being a wee bit selfish and you want to make whiskies that taste the way that you like. But in truth, I'm going to just finesse the recipe, if you like, and I'm going to dial down a little bit the oaky flavours, and I'm going to dial up the smoky flavours, because I think it's something that a lot of old dyed-in-the-wool fans of Black Bottle love. But I also think it's something that's going to be great for people who are, trying something for the first time, or new to Black Bottle, or maybe have been in the single malt world for quite a bit and want to try some blends. I think it's time to just, it's not a huge change, it's not a recipe change, but it's time to just sort of start turning up that kind of raw, salty, smoky goodness that comes from Black Bottle.
So there's been an evolution, hasn't there, with Black Bottle? Because it started off like something, then it was famously smoky, then it was dialed back a bit, and now you're going to bring back some of that famously smoky side.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's probably quite a few whiskies that go through these sort of, natural ebbs and flows. But yeah, I'd say that's fair. But what I heard, the biggest things, like when I changed job and when I joined Distill, the biggest thing is, oh wow, Bunnahabhain, and people knew I lived in Islay, so people who knew me and they know that I love smoky whiskies, they're like, oh my God, you're going to make all Bunnahabhain smoky, aren't you? And I was like, no, actually the opposite. I'm going to make less smoky Bunnahabhain, because as amazing as it is, Bunnahabhain is unpeated, sherried and spectacular. So I'm going to go that way. But the other thing they said was, they were all kind of like, can you make Black Bottle smoky again? And that was like, it was and maybe it's confirmation bias, like you might think, oh, he was just looking for the answer he wanted, but really, bartenders I know, cocktail makers, people who I trust, people who I know have, their finger on the pulse, everyone was kind of having the same joined up message of, it's amazing, we love Black Bottle, but if it could be a wee bit smoky again, that would be amazing. So that's maybe the long-term plan.
Make it so.
Yes, Yes, this is a good thing. Sometimes it's quite scary. Sometimes I have my finger on the button, so I can do these things. You know.
I think we've got a question coming in. Oh, we've got someone from South Africa saying, no, we've got someone with a South African friend who is tasting along and loves it. That's nice.
Good man. Good man, good woman, good person. It's a spectacular whiskey. I mean, this is where I'm going to upset everyone out there, but I think it's outrageous value for money. It's too affordable in my view, which is why I buy it all the time. But you know, if you see what goes into it, if you see the incredible single malts that go into it, the skill that goes into it, the level of casking that we put into this, it never ever fails to perform when it comes to blind tastings or blended tastings. Or, you know, I was at the one of the whiskey festivals recently. I've been to a few recently, so I can't remember which one, but it was mostly single malts on display. You know, so we had Tobermory, Leitchig, Deanston, Bunnahabhain, but I had a bottle of Black Bottle and a bottle of Black Bottle 10 under the counter, and just every so often I'd pour it. Just, what do you think of this? And, you know, they stand up, they score incredibly. People fall in love with them. Some people identify it as, you know, they can identify that character of whiskey. So this, the Elvila, so they say, is this a single malt? And you're like, no, it's called Black Bottle. You really need to try it. And it's great because there's new people coming in who just love it. And then there's people who have drank Black Bottle for years and years and years who always just have that, you know, it's an emotional connection that you have to this whiskey.
Yeah. Well, should we move on to what are we going to try next? The double cask.
Yes. Get yourself the double cask poured.
Yes. Well, I should also say that if you hear any funny noises, there's a couple of hippopotamuses upstairs running around. So if you hear any thuds, it's my hippopotami that live upstairs.
We've already had my wife activate the Find My iPhone and decide to come into my office to find it. So we're doing well, Henry. We're just two professionals, frankly. So, that, you know, like
I'm going to have to get it soundproofed. So double cask. This is the Alchemy series. I should also add these are all available at extremely reasonable prices from Master of Malt. But these were released when was it last year or the year before?
Yeah. So it was last year. So, you know, I love to talk about myself and I love to take credit, but actually these whiskies were already made and they were just about to release when I joined the company. So these were created by Julianne, who's in my team, who's the master blender for Distill, and Julianne created. We're going to create a range of whiskies for Black Bottle because, frankly, we want to just scream about this spectacular blend and really pull out and enhance and push across all of the flavours that we have in this whiskey. And what was born was the Alchemy Series. So with the Alchemy Series, we use a lot of virgin oak in Black Bottle. So we started thinking about, can we use different types of virgin oak? Can we use different preparations of wood? Can we use different styles of oak or different styles of cask to either really push the boundaries of what Black Bottle is? And so we launched these two Alchemy Series that we're going to taste tonight. And the first one is the double cask. So double cask is that kind of, it still has classic Islay in there, but actually what we've done is we've really dialed down the smoke. So we've taken the smoke way down. So we're going back into the kind of region of more traditional blended Scotch, which only has a whisper of smoke or a hint. And what we've done is all of the grain whiskey in this blend has been fully matured in red wine casks. So with that, with the full maturation in red wine for the grain, you get this smoke's way down. The smoke is super discreet. So don't worry if you don't notice smoke at all in this lovely amber red dram. You know, your jumper is absolutely on point for this whiskey, Henry. Well done. You got the memo.
That was the idea. Yeah. I love it. It's really sort of toffee and honey and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I get kind of marshmallows roasted on a fire. So it's not the smoke, but it's the caramelization of the marshmallows. And there's like raspberries in there as well. There's raspberries. There's something slightly jammy. There's something a little bit sticky and chewy that's in there in this whiskey. And it's a massive hit. It's just absolutely nailed the judges at the IWSC, which is one of the most important, the premier awards, I would say, that you can go for. And this one, Double Cask, got 99 out of 100. So it's a gold standing winner. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you did well, didn't you, at the awards? You got a lot of them.
We did really well, yeah. So Deanston Virgin Oak also got a gold outstanding and best in class. Double Cask, 99 out of 100. Island Smoke that we're going to taste next only got 98 out of 100, so we're very disappointed with the IWSC for that, because it deserves far more than that. But we did really well. And I think the quality of the whiskies we're making right now are, fantastic, and it's great to see that reflected in some of these award ceremonies. I guess our mission is just to have the confidence to commit and lay down more, and maintain that outstanding quality, but make more available for people to try. That's maybe one thing we struggle with is it can be sometimes hard to find our products on shelf. Having said that, you can buy a bundle of black bottles at Master Malt right now. You lucky devils.
Brilliant. You're completely on message. This is a great sipper, but I'm also thinking cocktails. I'm thinking old fashions, Rob Roy's, that kind of stuff. That sort of richness, I think, would be wonderful.
Yeah, it makes so a lot of people actually have been going, and we're going to jump to Island Smoke in a little bit, but a lot of people have been talking about Island Smoke and saying, oh wow, it makes a great old fashioned, and that's fine, I guess. Some people like a smoky old fashioned. For me, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. But the double cask that we're trying right now, it's like a velvety, chocolatey, thick, syrupy old fashioned, and it really works. Makes a great Rob Roy, like you already said. Makes a good Negroni as well.
Ooh, I bet that would be great, because it's got that orangey thing, that orange peel thing, and you think Campari, orange bitters, vermouth. It's just gonna sing with all of those.
Yeah, it's great whiskey. The other thing that's great about the Alchemy series is we've just proofed them higher, So they're 46%. So that's a kind of, let's face it, it's a connoisseur's kind of strength, because once you're at 46, you non-chill filter, and we have a tradition of adding 0.3 to our whiskey, so it's 46.3 for the double cask. It just gives it a bit more texture. It means it's non-chill filtered, and some people, really, really are quite stringent with that, and that's great if you want to be. But to me, it just is that higher strength gives a bit more texture, gives you a bit more chance to experience the whiskey, gives you a bit more leverage to add water if you want to do that. It lets you throw in a rock ice if you want to try something else. But just all natural colour, non-chill filtered, and at 46.3, it's just a cool way to show off Black Bottle. And I think the Alchemy range, we're planning number 3 and number 4 right now, and I'm convinced they're going to be every bit as good and every bit as a success as 1 and 2. I could see a range of 10 coming, if the consumers, if all the whiskey drinkers out there ask for it, we've got the imagination, and we're quite excited to try and show off the different things.
Can you give us any hints about what might be coming in the Alchemy series, or what you're working on?
I can give you vague hints, a bit like Dungeon Master at the start of Dungeons and Dragons, who was he was an arse, really. He could have saved them all from PTSD and nearly getting killed by a dragon, but he just gave them enough to annoy them. But I think something that Julianne and I love about what happened with this first two, with double cask and island smoke, is we love the fact that Black Bottle, if you were to simplify it too much, you would say the two things that stand out for it is it has a wonderful sweetness and it has this crazy smokiness. So with double cask, we really went after the sweetness and tried to pull out certain parts of that, the caramelization, the toasted fruits, the baked citrus kind of flavors, and we went way after that. And then with island smoke, it was like a return to our homeland, you know, like a poignant voyage across the sea to Islay. And with island smoke, we just made the smoke just go crazy, and said, you know, watch out if you're not into it. And I think we like that. Listen, I'm going to go for a big word, and it's a Tuesday, and I've had a whiskey, but I'm going to go for that kind of juxtaposition. I managed it. There you go. I got it. But we like the idea of one of them, let's dial the smoke up and go crazy, and the other one, let's take the smoke down, or not necessarily take it down, but let's not make smoke the star of the show this time. Let smoke be the second or third player in the play, and that's where we're going with the Alchemy series. You know, that's our mission, if you like.
Yeah, no, I completely see it. We've got somebody saying Koski 1885 saying he or she or whoever it is, Koski, is drinking Bunnahabhain 12 and then is going to go on to the island smoke. So, Koski, let's have some island smoke.
Yeah, go for it. So if you're really enjoying Bunnahabhain 12, in a way, you're kind of drinking a double cask, because the way that we brought the smoke down is we introduced loads of classic Bunnahabhain into double cask, and then it was the red wine grain casks. Now, with island smoke, this is way more Bunnahabhain Moynia. So yeah, I have it here as well. So for island smoke, this to me, you know, I've already declared my affiliation quite clearly early on. I used to live on Islay. I spent 3 of the most heavenly years of my life living on Islay, managing 3 amazing sites on Islay, supplying smoky malt to pretty much all the distilleries on the island, and just fell in love with the place. And one of the great things, so when I lived in Islay, I used to play football. This is when I was young and I had eyesight and hair and I could run about a pitch a little bit. And I played football for Portellen FC, and I loved it. Was just part of life on Islay. I worked for, at the time I worked for Lagavulin. Several of the midfield worked for Lafroig. The goalie worked for Bruichladdich, and lots of the team played for Ardbeg. So after the match, you know, or after football training or something, sometimes you'd nip back to the pub. And don't get me wrong, you don't drink whiskey all the time, so you might have a couple of beers or this or that. But it would just, the odd occasion we'd won a big game or we'd won a cup or something. You'd be like, well, we'll get a dram. And there would always be like, oh, well, you work for them, I work for them, you work for here, I work for there. And the great thing to order so that everyone was included and it didn't cause any, you know, any awkwardness is you bought a black bottle. You bought a black bottle because all of our distilleries were in that whiskey at that time. And to me, Island Smoke is close, but it's souped up, but it's close to that black bottle that made me fall in love with Black Bottle. So it's got a lot of the smoke from the Kildalton coast of Islay, that south coast with those famous distilleries. There's a lot of that smoke in there, that maritime, mulchy, earthy wood smoke. But it also has, which I can talk about honestly, is a huge proportion of Moynia, which is Bunnahabhain. It's like a sweet peat, and it's quite salty as well. So when you throw that all together, double cask has got that caramelization, fairground candy floss. Island Smoke to me is just kind of Islay in a glass, you know?
Yeah, it's got, I said this before when I spoke to you, it's got bacon frazzles, it's got iodine, it's got saline breezes, it's got, you know, it's got that sort of seaweedy thing. It's got all the kind of elements of Islay in it.
I agree, and it's called Island Smoke for a reason. I'm kind of ad-libbing here, and I'm sure the PR and marketing departments will freak out, but probably Isla Smoke would have been an even stronger word for it, because frankly, it's all Isla single malts that are in there. I'm pretty sure probably there was a regions or an SWA reason not to call it that, but yeah, we're hinting very strongly to where this belongs. This is super smoky, that intense but beautiful, smoky, salty, but also citrus and sweet whiskey, all combined together that make up the island smoke.
I think we said this before, but it's £25 a bottle, and you're getting something that is so distinctly Islay, and from a single malt you'll be paying 40, 45. What is, I won't say, but they are getting very expensive now, those age statement Islay whiskies, and this is £25 a bottle, and I would say give this to an Islay whiskey lover, they're going to be in heaven.
It's right. So yeah, cards on the table is too cheap. It's too cheap, in my opinion. The price we charge for this incredible whiskey is not enough, but it's kind of it's part of what Black Bottle does, and it's 46.3%. We're going for that kind of classic premium ABV. It's non-chill filtered. It's natural strength. If I could write down, Henry, honestly, if I could write down the single malts that feature in this blended Scotch, if I wrote them all down, and I'll not say their names, but distillery A, B, C, D, E, F, and also Bunnahabhain smoky, Bunnahabhain unsmoked. And then I said, me and you went to a cocktail bar in London, and I said, look, they're doing like a kind of Scotch Long Island iced tea with all of these malts in it. It's £20 for a cocktail. What do you think? All of us would be like, you're damn right, let's get that. That sounds incredible. And yet we have a 70cl bottle of it, which has all of the superstar whiskies you can think of, and they're all very, very nicely, expertly woven together. And it's just a fantastic dram. Yeah, and it's £26.
It's definitely one for people who say, don't drink blends. Give them this. We have a question, and this is a question I've been slightly dreading, just because I actually don't really know. I don't really know how to pronounce. What's peated Tobermory called?
Leitchig.
Leitchig.
Yep.
Is Leitchig? This is from Christopher Malloy. Thanks, Chris. Is Leitchig a component of any of these blends?
So no, it's not right now. But, and this isn't a big hint, it's just one of the things that floats about my head. So, first of all, I love the question because I obsess over Leitchig, and I think we should make far more Leitchig. And this is a hint. We're going to make way more Leitchig at Tobermory Distillery, because I think it's got something special about it, and we need to go crazy. But in my head, one of these ones that you kind of write down on a bit of paper and you're like, I'll get to that once I've sorted these 3 or 4 fires that I have going on. I want to make a black bottle where the smoke is purely Leitchig. So we take out all of the Islay malts. There's 6 Islay malts in there. Take all of them out and make the smoke element of Black Bottle just Leitchig. So that's one that I really want to do. And Leitchig, to me, it is far more industrial. It has this crazy kerosene, diesel-y, varnish, engine shed kind of flavour to it, which actually, considering energy prices right now, makes its value go through the roof. But yeah, I want to do that, and it's a kind of dirty, mucky, in-your-face Black Bottle with Leitchig. That's the kind of like an old puffer boat with a poorly maintained engine. That's what I kind of have the tasting notes like in my head if I could make a Leitchig. But right now, really, the smoke is coming from Islay.
That's a wonderful insight. Thank you. And we've just had somebody, Johnny Williams, saying the price for this is ridiculous. Incredible value, especially at 46.3%.
Yeah, yeah.
We've also heard that it's hard to get Black Bottle in New York, from Christopher Malloy again. Are there any plans to improve your distribution in America?
Yes. It's it's one of those things. So yeah, it's probably it's one of my biggest task since I've taken on this job, and it's my mission, if you like, is to never ever risk never ever risk our people, never ever risk our safety, and never ever risk the quality of what we make. But I want us to make more. I want us to have some confidence. I want us to really step up what we do, lay down in great cask for long term. Whiskey's a long term business, and I know it's expensive, but I know for a fact there's more people out there who want to drink our whiskies, and whiskey is a stocks game. So I don't have any goal to make us the number one selling whiskey on earth, because I just don't. And I think that's a realistic achievement, and frankly, it's not one I care about. But I want to lay down more stocks and more stocks and more stocks. But frankly, America, and I love America. I proposed to my wife in New York, and I spent my honeymoon in New York. I spent my first anniversary in New York. I spent my second anniversary in New York. My wife was actually at home for that one. It's still a bit awkward. But yeah. I love New York, Mr. Malloy, Christopher, I do. But right now, we're just not quite ready to launch in New York. But I am working on that. Behind the scenes, this is the less sexy, less talked about, less glamorous part of whiskey. But I'm just working with our distillery managers, with our stocks people, with Julianne, to just lay down, and get ready to just launch in places like New York, and improve the distribution for Black Bottle and also for our single malts, because I think you'll absolutely love them. But there's no point in launching them right now and going, great news, Black Bottle's here, and then the next day a sign that says sold out.
Yeah. Will the or has the Heineken influence? Will that improve distribution, or does that help, or is there just no difference?
It's irrelevant, if I'm honest. That's big corporate talk, and there'll be lots of things that happen, but honestly, nothing's changed for me in the last year. We're very much just about how much do we want to lay down, where will we lay it down, how are we going to do it. And so far, every time I've asked for more commitment, more on it, more faith, more money, more ambition, every time I've asked, it's quite cool actually. They're listening to me, Henry. It's really weird, but cool.
Gosh, that didn't used to happen before, because there was that other guy. What was his name?
Yeah. So no, I honestly don't think it affects anything, and it certainly hasn't affected anything right now. I think that's a name on a wall somewhere, but very much we are 3 whiskey distilleries, and we have ambitions to grow our single malts, ambitions to grow our blends, and there's no denying it's not just some sort of crazy blind ambition driven by my ego or anyone in the team. We feel the pull, questions like that have just been asked. We hear this a lot, so it gives me a lot. It's why I took this job. It's the quality, the diversity, and the range of whiskies that we have, and gin, just excite the hell out of me. So, and I do feel it. I feel people saying, give us more, but we'll do it first of all to the right quality, and then it's just going to take a little bit of time just to kind of grow that stock.
Well, you're a huge favourite with Master customers. We did our whiskey icons thing, and there was sort of Ardbeg in there. There was Jack Daniels, Johnny Walker, and the most loved brand or icon, Bunnahabhain. Out of everywhere.
It was
wiping away a tear now.
It's phenomenal. I mean, it was great. It was like it's the second best result I could have hoped for, because really I thought the favourite whiskey icon would be Brendan McCarron. But once someone explained to me that's not how it works, Brendan. And sorry,
maybe we should do that next year. We'll do a human beings whiskey icons. So it'll be like the final. It'll be like, you know, you versus Dave Broom or something. Right. What have we got? What have we got to finish on?
Yeah. So the final whiskey. This is the one that excites me a lot. So this is Black Bottle 10. So I love our Alchemy series, but this isn't some crazy sales pitch to make everyone rush out and buy this bundle of 4 Black Bottles when it becomes available again on Master Malt quite soon. But the Alchemy series, they're very deliberately whiskies that we're making as one-offs. You know, we're really pushing the boundaries of smoke with the island smoke. We're going crazy for that red wine caramelized sweetness with double cask. But Black Bottle 10, I bought a bottle of this when I started at Distill, and I put it on my Instagram. And a few folk who I'm friends with, Becky Paskin, Mark Thompson, the very handsome Glenfiddich brand ambassador, he was like, mate, what the hell is this? Where did this come from? And I was like, Mark, this is permanently available. He's like, no way, a 10-year-old Black Bottle. Jesus, that's amazing. So I brought a few bottles to a few people, and everyone's like, my God, this stuff's amazing. But it's like a ninja. You know, it is all in black, you know, much like a ninja, but people just don't really know that we have this one. And it's very much the older sibling to our classic Black Bottle. Everything is minimum 10 years old. It's age stated. It's smokier. It's actually smokier than the traditional Black Bottle that we do. And again, I have grand plans for this one. We have been interrogating our stock. We have been tasting, grading, and sampling our 10-year-old and also 9 and 8-year-old whiskey, you know, because you've got to think about projecting into the future. And frankly, we're really excited about this recipe. We think we can continue to make this in a great way. We can continue to I'm talking this little, you know, quarter turn. We can quarter turn up the smoke and just nudge things up, introduce more Islay malt into the blend. And frankly, it's just a stunning whiskey as well. It's, you know, 10 years old brings that kind of half spirit character, half wood character, gives that lovely, slightly oxidized mouthfeel. There's a lovely simmering smoke in the background, slightly crackled bacon, a little bit of almost like fresh oysters, you know, something that reminds you of the sea. You know, it's not quite salt, it's not marinade, it's just something makes you think, seafood or being by the seaside, you know, shellfish almost, just sitting on a beach. And there's a lovely reassuring heat to it as well. It's a magical blend. It's a magical blend, and one that I intend to make far more available. So this will be the one that people should be able to find on shelves when they go looking.
This is only £25.90 a bottle, which again is just, you know, silly money. It's got a beautiful kind of balance, and it's a sipper, isn't it? It's one that you kind of open up and just, you know, because it's not, the Alchemy series ones are kind of quite in your face, you know, they jump out at you, whereas this one is one you just, you know, and then there's a bit of smoke and there's a bit of sweetness, but it's all very harmonious.
Yeah, I would I would totally agree. I mean, we even talked about, so to me, Black Bottle, our classic Black Bottle, which we tasted first, I think it's like a, you know, it's an every person whiskey. You know, you can have it with water, you can pour it over ice, you can have some fun with it, you know, because it is so affordable, which makes me cry a little, you know, because I'm working my ass off making it for you, ladies and gents. And I have children, you know, I have a kid that I need to get through college, but it's so cheap, but it just gives you a bit of bravery to try something new with it. Then the double cask, you already talked about it, probably makes a great old fashioned, you know, makes a lovely Rob Roy. The double smoke, again, I would drink it straight up because it is very single malty, if you like. if I can add a Y to single malt and make it an adjective or a verb. But it's very single malty. I'm going to double down on that. But also it makes great daiquiris, and it makes like wonderful citrusy kind of cocktails. Incidentally, if you're brave enough and if you're like me and love a penicillin, feel free to take double cask and island smoke and make a penicillin completely out of Black Bottle. But for the 10-year-old, people often ask me, how would you enjoy this? How would you drink it? What's the perfect serve? This one to me is much more, sorry to be a bit boring and a bit traditional, but this is just a...
So get your tweed jacket out, bring the spaniels over, light the fire.
Get the pipe going. Shotgun half cocked across the arm. But it is just a wonderful sipping whiskey. It's just a dram. It's a great dram for people to have. It's a great dram for people who love whiskey. It's a great dram for people who are new in, who are interested in whiskey. It's a great dram for, I could put as many things after 4 as you want, but really, it's just a great dram. It's just a great dram. And I love Black Bottle.
Weddings,
bar mitzvahs, and functions.
Well, I think it's wonderful. I just, we if anyone has any more questions, get them in now, because we're gonna finish up quite soon. I just wanted to ask you: are you going to Feshiel this year?
Yes, yeah. So in years gone by, Feshiel was in a way cool for me because I got to. Well, when I worked for Diageo, I was very much in production, so I would head away to headquarters for big meetings on strategy and production levels, and it'd be in Elgin. And I used to look at my boss going, do you know what's going on in Islay right now? And he's like, yeah, but someone else deals with that, because I was just, running the distilleries. And then from my previous employee, when I was with Ardbeg and Glenmorangie, I used to go abroad. So I'd spend Fèis in America, and it was great. It was great, and I got to meet all the people who couldn't be at Fèis, and it was lovely to really connect with some people. But I mean, there's no denying that everyone wants to be on Islay at Fèis, and I kept going, can't believe I work in the whiskey industry. I've worked always with Islay distilleries, and I'm never on Islay at Fèis. But Bunnahabhain, when I spoke to the team there, I was like, so what happens at Fèis? They're like, well, you're absolutely on the island. So I was like, yes.
Jurassic Park.
So I'll be on Islay from the Tuesday before Bunnahabhain Day all the way through to the Saturday. So it's going to be amazing. So yeah, I will be there, ribboning my very little hair. And if anyone's at Fèis, come see me, come say hi. If you have any questions about Bunnahabhain, I'd love to try my best to answer them. But I think
do you have anything planned, or is it all still up in the air?
Yeah, we have things planned. It's probably not one that's going to be planned within an inch of its life, because it feels like, say it quietly, but it feels like we're coming out the end of COVID, and it feels like we can have a spectacular open day. I've painted Bunnahabhain quite a lot, so expect to see a very white distillery restored, because it was quite grey, and it was something that really, it was an itch that I needed to scratch when I took over. It was to paint the distillery. So expect to see a beautiful painted distillery. Expect to see myself and Andrew Brown saying hi to everyone. We're looking to do some big group tastings in the filling store, but we're also going to try and do some stuff in the courtyard. But really, it's not going to be an over-planned, like an over-themed, in-your-face kind of thing. It's just come and see Bunnahabhain. We have our brand new visitor centre, which we opened just before lockdown really kicked in. So it's almost like we've been going to the visitor centre for the last year or 2 years, but this is the first chance to really show off how great it is to all the Bunnahabhain fans that come. So really, yes, I guess the theme is probably more just welcome back. And then also like our new Bunnahabhain Fèis whiskey, was one that I made, my first sort of proper full concept through to final product whiskey. And one of the things I intended to do was, rather than doing lots and lots and lots of different batches of small amounts, I wanted to do we're going to release 4 whiskies, but one of them is going to be a little bit more readily available, so that if you don't get it in minute 1, you still will have a chance to get it. And I'm quite excited about that. It's like classic Bunnahabhain with sherry, but there's a couple of twists and a couple of flicks in there as well. And I think it's a lovely whiskey. So yeah, not much, and then also an awful lot that's going to be going on at Bunnahabhain on Face.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. We've just got one more question before we finish up, which it's from Christopher Malloy, the world's biggest Black Bottle fan, and he is saying, where is Black Bottle based out of? Is it on Islay? So I suppose it's like, where does the black bottling happen? Where are you?
Yeah. So our headquarters, where my blending laboratory, quite a lot of our warehousing, our blend centre as well is near Glasgow. So it's in a town called East Kilbride. So it's to the south of Glasgow. We've been there for a very, very, very long time. So that's where all of the casks
Isn't that where the Jesus and Mary chain are from? East Kilbride.
Oh God, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think you're right. I'd need to Google it, but I think you're right.
Yeah. I always anyway, whiskey, not
No, that's a brilliant. I like a tangent, and that is amazing. So I will Google that and confirm it. But yeah, East Kilbride, suburb of Glasgow, if you like. It's a new town. And our bottling hall and our warehouse have been there for a long time. So that's where all the whiskey will come to have its final disgorge. So we drop all the casks out the barrels into a vat. And like, it's quite cool because my lab, my blending laboratory is here, and there's a window, and I can see through a perspex window, and I can literally see each cask dropping the whiskey into the vat, and I can sample at any time. And then once myself and the sensory panel are happy, that's when we tick it off, and then it's whooshed away next door to be bottled and then sent out to the world. Sadly, not enough to America, Chris, but I'm working on it. I swear I'm working on it.
Yeah. Well, that's been so interesting, and thank you for telling us about these wonderful whiskies, and the prices are bananas, so fill your boots or don't, because then we'll run out. But they are fantastic. And Brendan, thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Henry, and it's always a pleasure. And yeah, I do. It's been a while since we met face to face, so I hope we get to catch up soon.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thanks, Brendan, and thank you everybody for watching and joining in. And I hope you enjoyed the whiskies, and they're all available for Master & Malt. And again, the prices